Good morning. I'm Ann Cooper-Moore, the Dean of J. Murray Atkins Library. Thank you for joining us today for our online version of Niner Nation Gives, because Niner Nation is wherever you are. This year, Atkins is highlighting 4 specific funds that support the academic success of UNC Charlotte students through technologies, collections, and study spaces. I want to introduce you to library staff who will describe the giving opportunities that we have this year and how your support directly impacts our library and our students. But first, I'd like to tell you about one of the funds, the Atkins Library Fund. This fund is used at the discretion of the library dean to support events and other initiatives that benefit students, faculty, staff, and community programming. It helps pay for expenses that are not covered in our state budget, and we use it to bring in nationally recognized exhibits, such as from the National Library of Medicine. The Atkins Library Fund covers honoraria for guest speakers, cost share collaborations with community partners, and our special emphasis this year and in the next couple of years at least will be diversity, equity, inclusion events and programming. It's just one of the 4 funds we are highlighting during these 49 hours of Niner Nation Gives. And I want to thank you for your past and continued support of Atkins Library, and I hope that you will watch the following videos to learn about the other funds. Go Niners!
Thanks for joining us today for Niner Nation Gives. Atkins Library is every UNC Charlotte student's source for technology learning, experimentation, ideation, creation, and mastery. The library makes available the technologies that students incorporate into their academic work and prepare to use in the workplace. We want to tell you about the types of technology and services Atkins Library provides and how your support helps our students prepare for their careers.
Hi everyone, Thomas Crocker here from Area 49. And I just wanted to talk to you all about some of our spaces and technology that we offer. The first space that I want to talk about is a technology support desk. This is a desk that's up on the 2nd floor in Atkins, where students, faculty, and staff can come and check out all different kinds of equipment. We have DSLR cameras, GoPros, 360 cameras. We've also got equipment for audio recording, and all of this equipment is listed on our website. The next space that I want to talk about is the Easy Video Studio. Like the name suggests, it's a really easy space to use. You can book the space for up to 3 hours, and then all you need is a flash drive to use the room's recording system. Once you've booked it, go into the space, plug in your flash drive, and everything is automated. So the television, the camera, the lighting, everything will turn on for you automatically. The screen in front of you will quickly go through an introductory video of how to use the space. There's a built-in green screen in the space where you can swap out to any of the 7 built-in backgrounds that are already in the system. Once you finish the recording, just press stop and it'll send that video file straight over to your flash drive, and you can leave the space and you've got all your content on your flash drive ready to go. The last space that I want to mention is the Multimedia Lab. This is where you can kind of go and edit your multimedia content that you've created so far with our equipment or with your own equipment. It's a bay of, it was 10 iMacs. Now we've had to eliminate a couple of them due to COVID for social distancing. But all of these iMacs are very powerful machines that can handle really heavy 4K video editing. And these machines have very specialized software loaded onto them. They have the entire Adobe Creative Cloud suite, as well as iMovie and GarageBand, Final Cut Pro as well. So this is a great space where you can just come and edit your multimedia content once you've created it.
The Photogrammetry Lab is a space where students can create 3D digital models of real-world objects from photographs. The lab contains everything you need to photograph all sides and angles of an object, including a DSLR camera, tripod, photography lighting and backdrop, and a manual turntable. Or you can bring in photographs taken outside the library and upload them to the room's computer that contains software. This software will process these photographs into a 3D digital model that can be used in digital environments like VR or a video game, or processed for 3D printing.
The Makerspace is a place for discovery, ideation, creation, and experimentation. In the Makerspace, users can find items that they need for non-traditional projects. These can range from tools like hot glue guns, drills, and soldering irons to felt, paint, and fabric. They can also make use of maker technologies like 3D printers, a laser cutter, CNC routers, a vinyl cutter, and sewing machines. The makerspace is a great place for beginner and seasoned makers to experiment with tools, help with ideas, or make their ideas come to life. When attending library-led classes, students can learn about prototyping, positive failure, design thinking, making connections between ideas from diverse disciplines, and maker technologies, creativity, and more. With its 7 by 24 foot widescreen display, a choice of 3 computing options, a smartboard, virtual reality system, and a collaboration space, the Visualization Lab is conducive to supporting and exhibiting projects such as large-scale visualization, cross-disciplinary research, digital scholarship, data analysis and visualization, GIS, and virtual reality. When attending library-led classes, students learn about concepts such as creating and using visualizations, the role of gaming and virtual reality in learning and visual creation, and making connections between ideas from diverse disciplines. The Gaming Lab was developed in collaboration with the College of Computing and Informatics and supports their certificate in game design and development. In addition to supporting students in their academic work, such as evaluating a game for class, the Gaming Lab is a pretty popular place for gamers and non-gamers to play both new and retro games for fun or stress relief. The Gaming Lab contains PlayStation, Xbox, and Atari systems, as well as a gaming PC. Users can check out games, controllers, and headsets for use in the Gaming Lab, or even classic consoles to use at home.
Welcome everybody. I'm Dawn, along with my colleagues Randy and Ayana from Special Collections. And we're here to talk about the Julian and Elsie Mason Endowment Fund for the purchase of rare books and how we use rare books in our teaching and learning here at Atkins Library. We really rely on the Mason Endowment Fund to build our rare book collection since there's no funding in the library budget for the purchase of rare books. So Randy, I see you're there in the Dalton Rare Book and Manuscript Reading Room. Can you tell us about some of the books you bring out frequently for classes in Special Collections?
Absolutely, Dawn. So the book that I bring out quite a lot is Poems on Various Subjects, Religious and Moral by Phyllis Wheatley. Julius Mason was a Wheatley scholar, so this was actually his book. Wheatley was the first African-American to be published here in America in 1773. So this book is a first edition. It's rare for various reasons. It's definitely very well loved by Betsy Greenleaf, who owned the book before Julius Mason did. And it's also rare because Phyllis Wheatley herself signed it. So it's a very great copy to have.
And I can't tell you how happy I was when I got to hold that in my hands. But even if you're not a poetry nerd like me, there are various books here that just give you the historical context that you need to be able to critically analyze them. And I think that's very important.
Wow, yeah, that's so true. Randy, what do you bring out with that book?
So with Wheatley, I usually bring out the narrative of the life of Moses Grandy as well. So it's a great example of a freedom narrative. It's actually focused on a formerly enslaved man who was here in North Carolina. And it's great too, because it's in pamphlet form. So it's a great way for students to think about how publishing had changed from the 1700s to the 1800s. And it also tells us too about how literacy had changed as well, given that this was fast publishing. So folks really wanted to get the word out about freedom narratives, especially abolitionists. So it's a great way to pair these two together.
And I think that book, being from an enslaved person here in North Carolina, is also very important because that is something that, that is something that, helps us apply it to our own experiences because we're here and this was something that happened in our history. And I also think that every slave narrative has its own personality because, obviously they're written by different people, and you can compare it to like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Jacobs, and they're all important in their own different ways.
Yeah, so true. And we do try to purchase books from North Carolina authors, especially authors of color, because the Masons, when they set up that fund, deliberately said it shouldn't just be reflective of the culture of the majority, but also of all cultures of the United States. So that's really important that we purchase books by authors of color. So what else do you have, Randy?
So another book that sometimes I'll pair with the two earlier books is To Kill a Mockingbird. So To Kill a Mockingbird is an incredibly iconic book, and it's a great way too for students to realize that the books that they read in high school still have a really impressive impact on the rare books today. So this is a first edition. It's from 1960, and it's a great way too for us to really expand the different types of authors as we have. Harper Lee was a white woman from the South, but it's great to use this book because it's so incredibly iconic, and it shows us too how literary tastes have changed from the 1700s, 1800s, and now this more modern take that we all see today.
And I think that having books, from as early as like the 1700s to books that are closer to our time within the literary canon are important because it just shows the variety of books that we have here to use. Because I feel like a lot of people think that we only have like old books, and that's not true. We have something for everyone.
That's so true. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And I wish we could look at a million more books today, but we can't. We're out of time. But I want to thank everyone out there for spending a little bit of time with us today to learn about our rare book collection. And remember, to support these efforts to purchase rare books, you can target your donations to the Mason Rare Book Endowment Fund. As the endowment fund grows, every year we have more income from it to buy wonderful rare books like these we've talked about today. So everybody have a wonderful day, and thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for our Niner Nation Gives Spotlight. Kayla and I are going to discuss the much needed improvements to our study rooms. In our spring 2019 student survey, students expressed concern about limited study room availability and suggested that existing rooms be renovated with new furniture and technologies. So 5 group study rooms were renovated with new paint, writable walls, furniture, and technology, including screens with Air Media wireless presentation technology. Our students seem to appreciate the improvements. So Kayla, you're a current student. Can you tell us what you think of the renovated study rooms?
Yeah, I love the new renovated study rooms. My favorite part is probably like the whiteboard walls is a really interesting thing. Like I honestly didn't know you could do that to the walls. So it's really cool to be able to like write on them. I also really like the whole offering like HDMI ports and the Air Media thing because I love getting to see my work on a bigger screen. It helps me just like focus more on that. And I also really like that you can rent out a bunch of things like wireless keyboards, mouse pads, cameras, a bunch of that kind of stuff. It's really good, and overall the new rooms have a very much more like modern feel to it, which I really like.
Yeah, so you mentioned that modern feel. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the old study rooms look like?
Yeah, the old study rooms kind of had like a warmer, darker tone to them. Like their walls were like a reddish beige color. And personally, I like the more fresh feel of the blues of the new rooms. And the older rooms only came with like a Windows PC and like just a normal whiteboard on the wall that you could use.
Great. So how popular are these rooms with students?
I see students in them all the time, and once I started learning about them, I use it all the time, like probably like 3 to 4 times a week. I go in those study rooms just because it's an amazing place to like work, sit down, and like not have distractions. So.
That sounds like a really great place to go.
Yeah.
So could you speak in general about the need for study spaces in the library?
I think it's really important to have these study spaces in the library because there are some like students who can't study in their own dorms, or there are other places where they just get distracted really easily. So the library having these study rooms and other study spaces helps like keep peace, keep quiet, so they can like really just hone in on their schoolwork. So it's really important so they can just stay focused and get it done without having to worry about like noises of dorms or apartments or music, you know, that kind of stuff.
Kayla, thanks so much for sharing the information with us about the library's renovated study rooms, and thank you for being part of the library's Niner Nation Gives efforts.
Of course. Thanks for having me.